quarterback situation in the league, and the Pittsburgh Steelers already have it. Mike Tomlin, the head coach, tentatively named Justin Fields the starter. Big Ben, a legend, obviously. Bradshaw, Big Ben, your all-time quarterback legends in Pittsburgh. Big Ben said he'd prefer to just let Justin Fields start it. He beat Denver. Let's just keep him there.
If Russ is healthy, I'm sticking with Justin. I like what I've seen. I like that he's getting into it. I like he's getting the feel of it. If you had told me they're 1-1 or 0-2 and these are going on, I'd say, yeah, we got to do something. But again, he's not turning the ball over. They're 2-0. I think it's got to stay with him. I really do.
So this is a franchise, to me, they can't, O-line, run game, offensive coordinator. It always feels like they can't get it right. And I know people think I bag on the Steelers, but it's like they've gone the opposite direction of the league. Everybody else is spending money on offense. It's all about quarterback. Steelers are the only franchise, even when Big Ben got old, that the quarterback's not the star of the team. It was like their pass rusher, T.J. Watt or Mike Tomlin. And so we kept saying in the offseason, J-Mac and I both felt like Justin Fields would be more popular in the locker room. He's younger. He's more relatable. He's more cooler. Russell Wilson, as far as I can tell, has never been wildly popular in locker rooms. Okay, I've never heard a star quarterback get whacked by former teammates and coaches more than Russell Wilson. He had a couple players only a couple that went to his wedding. Really, like two athletes or two football players. So from what I can tell, he's not wildly popular in locker rooms, and Justin Fields was really liked, even though he didn't win games. Usually if you don't win games, nobody likes you. In Chicago, everybody liked Justin Fields. Coaches liked him, players liked him, so we felt he'd be the more popular. But what I love about this franchise more than anything, and I've said this before, the Steelers don't fire coaches. Tomlin will probably be there as long as he wants to. Mike Tomlin would be a rock star as a broadcaster. I can remember covering Charles Barkley. And Charles Barkley was funny when you would go into a locker room after a game. Like, that guy's going to be a star. Like, you could see Charles Barkley was going to be a star. It's the same way with Mike Tomlin. He is laugh out loud funny. So apparently they gave Russell Wilson a petty award. I don't know what exactly that means. I can figure it out. But Tomlin's answer is so good. So there was a game ball given to Russ, even though he didn't play. And Russ, remember a couple weeks, it was 2 weeks ago, that he wore shoulder pads in a game that he was inactive on the sidelines. He wore shoulder pads. I've never seen that in my entire life. So whatever. I don't want to take shots at anybody. But and he got a petty game ball, whatever that means. But here's Mike Tomlin explaining it brilliantly.
There's certain things that go on among teams that I don't talk about. Whether it gets out or how it gets out is unimportant to me, and I'm not overly guarded against it. But it's just certain things as a leader that I talk to the collective about that I have zero intentions of sharing with the larger public, because it's about our collective and how we come together and how we appreciate and support one another. And, I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it.
I do analogies and metaphors. That tops all of them right there. The petty thing, are they making fun of Russ for wearing shoulder pads as an inactive player? I don't know what it means, but it is a very predictable quarterback dilemma because Justin Fields is taller, younger, relatable, more athletic, and athletes like that. I mean, good God, it wasn't that long ago that they pulled NBA players and they preferred Westbrook over Steph Curry. And Westbrook's more dynamic, and Westbrook was like seen as cooler, and he was more athletic. It plays in locker rooms. I mean, to the very end, Justin Fields in Chicago, everybody had his back, and he had become the worst fourth quarter quarterback in the NFL by a long shot. They weren't winning games. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Let's quickly revisit that Eagles loss to the Falcons on Monday night. Saquon dropped the pass in the red zone. Didn't love Sirianni's play calling. Bottom line is Falcons win the game with an awesome 2-minute drive. Well, after the loss, Eagles safety Reed Blankenship pointed to Jalen Hurts' leadership in the locker room, saying, Jalen led everything. No coach said a word. It's a player-led team, and at the end of the day, we know what we did was on us. We made mistakes, offense and defense. It's going to take everybody. I would actually argue this isn't on the players. The coaching decisions were awful from Sirianni. Everybody who it has a whiff of analytics, knows you kick field goals early in games and you go for it late.
Yes.
You don't kick to go up 6 with 2 minutes. That's just dumb football.
Right.
So this is not a good sign for Sirianni.
Well, coming off the story in the offseason that Hurts and Sirianni were not close. Now, Brady and Belichick weren't either, but generally, as a rule, offensive coaches are super close to their quarterbacks. I can't think of another example of it's not working. I mean, it's always that way. Unless you're getting rid of him and he knows it and you have a rough year at the end of a quarterback's career and the coach has to make a move. But even Andy Reid and Alex Smith at the end, Alex Smith is like, yeah, I'll mentor Mahomes. So Vikings offense, more potential is the word he used than Kirk Cousins. And it's interesting about that. So I always feel if you compared Sam Darnold to Kirk Cousins, it would be like comparing a bake-off to the Iron Chef. Baking is more formulaic, following directions, precise, more science. Chefs, it's more about improvisation, adapting, freestyling. It's more art, right? Both are fine. Kirk Cousins is a baker. Darnold's more the chef. A little reckless, a little more juice and flair and art. Cousins is about intense preparation, getting to his spot. Again, steady results. That's not what you get with Darnold. Darnold's got a little Andrew Luck, though not as talented, and a little Carson Wentz, though not as reckless. He's an athlete. He improvs. He adds upscale touchdowns, but more ugly games. By the way, he's not obviously Brett Favre, but Brett Favre, when he was in Minnesota, was sort of like that. Brett was a chef. The 2 plays I remember from Brett Favre as a Minnesota Viking, just as a Viking, are that rollout throw against the San Francisco 49ers in the back of the end zone. It is one of the best throws I've ever seen in the history of football. It's just on the money. Only Favre could do that. You're not getting that with Kirk Cousins. But I also remember that dreadful interception he threw against the Saints that kept the Vikings out of the Super Bowl. And that's the chef. Either a fantastic meal, adapting, ad-libbing artistry, or you butchered it. Send it back to the kitchen. And that, to a lesser degree than Favre, that is what the Vikings have with Darnold. There's no question this offense has more juice. There's no question. Kirk Cousins was steadier, and I prefer quarterbacks with more juice. Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, Jalen Hurts, Sam Darnold. Now you say, well, I thought you liked Kirk Cousins going to Atlanta. Listen, Atlanta's been starving for 3 years offensively. They'll deal with chocolate chip cookies. They'll take baking. They just want to be competent. They need a formula. They could deal with a little formulaic. They can't even cross the 50-yard line last year in games with Desmond Ridder. But I would say, now, I would always rather have the chef over the baker, but Darnold does give Minnesota a higher ceiling. I don't think they're going to win their division, but we said this before the season. As people were picking them for 4th place, if they're 4th place, it's going to be the most talented offense in the history of the NFL in 4th place. Here's the coach, Kevin O'Connell, on Darnold.
I think we got 2 weeks of some pretty tangible examples of some quarterback play from Sam Darnold. The amount of work that goes into that position on your quarterback journey when everybody decides that you cannot play, we always believed in him, and felt awesome to watch him go do that thing. So I'm really proud of Sam Darnold.
I'm not going to be, on the day Lincoln Riley's coming, I just wanted to bring up Sam Darnold, a little Wednesday USC love, as they're opening the Big Ten play against Michigan, who's using their backup quarterback, as Lincoln Riley has 2 weeks to prepare for it. So Big Ben has already weighed in on Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Jerry Jones is talking, but I think he's not making a ton of sense. J-Mac, we have Lincoln Riley, Joel Klatt, Mark Sanchez stopped by today. I sat home last night and just watched, I get those occasional games Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and I just turn on Netflix and watch a bunch of stuff. Shohei Ohtani remains unbelievable. You texted me last night on Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
It's
guy's staggering.
Think about this. When McGuire and Sosa were in their home run chase, it captivated the world. Ohtani's doing a one better, and baseball struggling to get attention because of conference realignment in college football. The NFL over that 10, 15-year period, whenever it was, has exponentially grown. We're a much more distracted audience on our phones more than ever, on YouTube more than TVs. So it is interesting that show